The Adler Arms 89, available for less than the cost of a replacement tire for your car. Is it any good? We'll find out. You'll see my absolute first shots with the gun, full magazine plus one, see how it runs fully stuffed, take it over to the trademark, what's our dinner table, see what the gun eats, the spinner for sights and trigger control, then try to group on a 1-inch square from 7 yards before giving you my concluding thoughts. All coming up next on Ooh, 10 years without an ad read, 1,600 videos, not a single ad read until today. This video is brought to you by you. That's right, 10 years, 1,600 videos, never taking a penny from a company for anything public facing. I do consulting on the side as a private thing, but public facing stuff, nothing you've ever seen, ever had any money in play. I do this out of passion, out of pocket, with industry support, as in things being sent to me, and support from viewers like you. So thank you to the patrons, thank you to the subscribers on the channel, and most of all, thank you to those who use the website. Since that actually costs me a decent amount of money to run every month, it's dependent on you guys using those links for your purchases to keep that going. And every once in a while, there's a little bit extra to help keep all of this going. My last thanks goes to the Ammo Squared supporters, those who have joined Ammo Squared through my link. The way things work there is rather than an affiliate deal where I would be taking cash, pushing people onto that, I get credit for my own ammo. And Ammo Squared has been a great supporter of the channel. I've been a customer of theirs for 10 years, and they helped keep the channel shooting through the dry times. So those of you who've joined through that link, thank you as well. Enough with this shameless, terrible shilling of products, right? Let's get back to the video. 20-ish yards back from a 12-inch round, thanks to Thor targets. And yes, sometimes starting this way burns me, but the point of it is to force me to pay attention to the gun. We've got 10 rounds of normal 124 grain. That's gonna be our basic range load for the day. See how this thing feels. I experienced last weekend while out here after rain, just like it was raining on my drive here. No splash on the berm when I miss, which makes it really hard to tell where I'm missing. So immediate impressions, end of the trigger is a little bit sharp, so it's kind of poking into my finger a little bit. Recoil impulse is fine. Trigger weight, not terrible, not the best, but not bad. Definitely something I can get used to. Now we'll move on to full magazine plus one. I'm gonna turn off the target camera because, well, this is just gonna be shooting into the berm, trying to get a feel for the rhythm of the gun. The two included Beretta pattern magazines load decently, a little bit sharp on the top, not quite as rounded as some nicer magazines. So far, so good. Inserting a full 15 rounder on a closed slide, not a problem in this gun. So that's a positive. And let's see what doubles feel like. A little bit of gap forming here in my hand. I'm having to kind of tilt a little more than I want to keep control of it. But otherwise, smooth and comfortable shooting. No problems yet. Let's see what it eats. Radio voice activated. It's that time again. What's for dinner time? As we scroll past these, you'll see we've got ogives at different points along the different overall loaded lengths, different case material, projectile types, and weights. Today we're going from 95 up to 165 grain. The point of what's for dinner is to see what the gun will eat. Will it feed it? Will it cycle another round of the same type on its own energy? Will it lock open on empty? The third round is to reduce variables. However, it doesn't test the magazine. If you want to do deeper testing or trying this ammo yourself, check the pinned comment where I will link to sources. 7 yards back from some 2-inch circles. These serve as a general point of aim, but also give us a feel for point of impact shift if there are any. Sometimes, just like rifles, pistol barrels have a favorite load and a load they don't like. Starting off with one of the fun ones. The MagTech 95 grain jacket soft point tends to be a fireball generator and kind of fun. It's also a short load and did not want to chamber. Didn't get tucked. Let's give it one more attempt. Nope. It's not making it onto that feed ramp. Hopefully you can see in there. So that's a no-go for the 89. It's funny, I read some of the buyer reviews of this after I ordered it, because yes, I bought it. And there were a bunch of people complaining, calling it junk, saying it doesn't feed, all that kind of stuff. The 124 grain Norma that we use for range ammo was fine so far, but we're off to a rough start here in What's for Dinner. Now another snub nose, but a little bit longer bolt, the 100 grainer Liberty steel plate and range. Fed. All right, circle 2. No issues cycling. Next is a patron submission. Thank you, patron, for providing that. The S&B XRG 100 grainer, and I do have a complete deeper dive of that ammunition over on my website. Solid copper hollow point. I went right in. It smells good too. Issues. Moving on to the HAG, Hornady American Gunner 115 grain. It's the XTP. Reset and try that again. Round didn't get shoved in. And once again, catching up on that feed ramp. So no go for the XTP. Haven't had a gun this picky in a while. And as you guys know, these loads are randomly selected. I've got 60 or so loads in a big old box, and I just grab reaching for variety. All right, for circle 5, how about the classic Federal Premium Tactical HST, Federal Premium Law Enforcement Tactical HST 124 grain. Oof. Same thing. Binding right on feed ramp. Whew. We're doing a little rough here. We've got 2 out of 5 so far. Next, the PMC SFX, Pacifics 124. This would be circle 6. Same thing. Give it another try. I am alternating magazines between the included magazines. I did not bring a true Beretta magazine with me. Be curious to see if that made a difference. Now another snub nose. I swear guys, I didn't set this up. Is the Federal Syntec PCC 130 grain. Be circle 7. Damn. Come on. And I am alternating magazines between the two. It's another no-go. At this point, it's kind of like watching a train wreck. You just like, you shouldn't. It's time to look away, but I'm just curious. I gotta keep going. All right, the Fiocchi Dynamic Defense 147 grain, also snub nosed but longer. Ah, really? This is next level disappointment, guys. Nope. But as I did mention in the tabletop, the feed ramp looks different. It doesn't look like what I'm used to seeing. Having looked at well over 500 handguns now. I'm not a gun designer, but I am familiar with the shape of things. Longer bullet, Winchester Defense 147 grain. Oh, come on. Nope. Load 10, Ammo Inc. Stolth. It'll be a tragedy if this runs because Ammo Inc. is no longer making ammo, so this stuff's done. Oh, we chambered. All right. All the way over to Circle 10. Ran. That's painful. Time saver though, I guess, and save me some money. Let's get over to the spinner for sights and trigger control. 13 yards back from a 6-inch spinner. Use this target for sights and trigger control because it's a small target at distance. And I hit it, it starts moving. If I want to get it over the top, I can only hit it when it's moving away from me. The better I hit it, the faster it moves, the more important timing a well-placed shot becomes. Hence, I use it for sights and trigger control. We've got okay sights and a heavy trigger on this thing. Back to that normal 124 grain. Not too bad. The sights, as you saw on the tabletop, are nothing magical, but they are better than factory Glock. At least they're metal. And the trigger is a bit heavy, got some crunch, you have to punch through it, but it's doable, it's usable. Once you figure out where to hold and learn how to punch the trigger, it's not going to hold you back. So that's acceptable, I guess, with the 89. Back on paper, 7 yards away from a 1-inch square for practical accuracy. Now I use a 1-inch square because it tends to be at this distance scaled to roughly the same size as the front sight post. Makes it easy for consistent aiming. This is also where I wrap up my thoughts on the gun, even though I don't have nearly as many rounds through this as I normally put through a gun. Let's see how we can do with these crude sights and rather heavy trigger. The front sight post is broader than a 1-inch square at 7 yards. Acceptable. During that practical accuracy, I did feel the gun swim a little in my hand, just not having enough traction, and it is a rather blocky feel in the hand. It could use some roundness, at least for my hand size, to be able to fill it. The trigger's not great, sights aren't great. Reliability, we don't know. What we do know is it's a picky eater for sure. Of 10 loads, we got 3 of them through the gun. It seems to like the normal 124 just fine, which makes sense. In Turkey, where this is produced, they have very limited access to the... they do not have the same variety of ammunition that we do here in the US. It's part of why I do What's for Dinner. I've had several manufacturers consult with me about certain loads and done some off-camera testing for development in the past. Adler Arms would have benefited from that for sure. That feed ramp is just too short, and it's a curious phenomena to have a gun produced in 2025. Sorry, this one was made in 24, which is also interesting why it takes so long to get to market in the US. But to have a gun produced in this age that doesn't have things that have already been figured out for it. For example, the optics mounting on this that you saw in the tabletop, not something that I would trust. I'm assuming there's a missing part or something, or an accessory that needs to go on. It can't be the way that you mount it. And That feed ramp design, it makes me question if maybe the challenge and the reason why it's designed that way is the geometry they had to go with to use the Beretta magazines. One of the things that appealed to me about the gun was using Beretta magazines and it being something slightly different. Again, I only ran the included mags, not an actual Beretta mag. These mags do feel a little bit different. The feed lips are sharp. There's some nasty points. I'll try to get some photos of that. And there's no manufacturer mark on here as to who made the mags, so maybe they're making their own mags. I applaud that, but I think this is a gun that wasn't quite ready for prime time for the US market, at least not for general consumption, maybe with some caveats, like if you want to use it range only and you're only going to use 124 FMJs, probably good. Would 115s run in it is an interesting thing. I don't think I have any 115 ball with me today, but I don't know, I take that back. My thought there would be the 115s tend to be a little bit of a shorter nose because it's less bullet. But we had the 147s not go. Yeah, those were snub nosed, but they were longer bullets with the curve projected forward. This is exactly why we do What's for Dinner and why I choose the loads that I do and have such variety, because simply looking at the bullet weight doesn't tell you what the shape of the bullet's going to be. Might give you an idea, but they do differ manufacturer to manufacturer. At this point, the 89 is not something that I could recommend unless you just kind of wanted a toy. I was hoping it would be a good alternative for the ultra budget class of guns. We lost Sky this last year, who made, believe it or not, decent guns. Yes, they had problems with magazines, but they'd replace them if you talked to them about it. I went through that a couple times. And yes, the double action requires a little more discipline to shoot, but if you could shoot it, it was a great gun for the price point. Down around the 200 mark, there's not a lot of good options out there, and I don't think this one's quite there yet either. Thanks for watching.